I feel good tonight. What's up, everybody? You know what time it is. Welcome into Prime Time Early Edge. I'm your boy, the coach, and tonight, it's a Super Bowl rematch. Tonight, we have the best Monday Night Football game of the entire season. Something's got to give. Our incredible partners at BetMGM, thank you very much. All of our odds tonight provided by them. We are always powered by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it is not close. Tonight, something has to give. The rubber meets the road. How about these little nuggets for you? The Chiefs at home this year, 4-0 straight up against the spread. The Eagles 3-0 against the spread in their last 4 primetime games. This year, Monday Night Football, 11-1 to the under. A lot of trends, a lot of stars. So what do we do on a Monday night when I need my absolute very best? I bring in my rock stars, bring in the stars of the show. You know them. You love them. Oh, my goodness. Lydia said in the chat, oh, snap. The coach is ready. You're damn right I'm ready. The counselor is here. Coach Phil is here. My 5-tool player, AB, is here. And EC is here. EC, we'll put our little stuff to the side, even though I told you about Tennessee, because tonight's about the NFL. Tonight's about the NFL. Gentlemen, I'm hyped. We all should be hyped. This is why we love the game, so let's waste no time whatsoever. Coach Phil, I need the Eagles' keys to the game. Start us off.
Coach, we have some really important keys to talk about tonight. Will the Philadelphia Eagles offense continue their success against a very good Kansas City defense? Philly, again, 28 points per game, third in the NFL, fifth in yards. They will flat out move the ball. They got some unbelievable weapons we'll talk about in a moment. But again, they're number one on third down. They're 50% with some help from a rugby-style phalanx that's undefensible called the brotherly shove. And then also we have Jalen Hurts, who his leadership, his toughness off the charts, the number one weapon, maybe the best NFL receiver right now, A.J. Brown, 7.4 receptions a game, 111 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's playing out of his mind. Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper's averaging about 60 yards a game, and DeAndre Swift is a consistent ball carrier, so this offense is going to be explosive tonight. Number 2, key to the game. Can the Eagles defense disrupt Mahomes? The Eagles defense is allowing 29. They're 29th in the league, allowing 257 yards passing, and they're also allowing 130.5 rating to tight ends. Guess who's coming to town, or guess who's in town? Travis Kelce. And guess who else is there? All the Swifts and all the Kelces are going to watch Travis go against this Eagles defense that's struggling to cover tight ends. The Eagles pass rush is legit. 30 sacks. They're 4th in the NFL, and they're 3rd in quarterback hits. Kansas City's only given up 12 sacks on the year, so this is a Super Bowl rematch with so many variables at stake.
Do you all want to do the work? Now, let's stay on the Eagles side of things. Yes, tonight the parents are going to meet without Taylor in attendance because she has to do a makeup concert tonight. Oh, the problems billionaires have these days. So, counselor, let me come to you first, big boy, because I believe we just heard the name Devontae Smith. And tonight, A.J. Brown should get a lot of attention, which could lead to what for you?
First of all, that Taylor Swift sentence, did you ever think you were going to utter a sentence like that in any context, let alone a football show? Listen, Devontae Smith is in a really good spot. I think I say that every week. We've taken his overs a couple of times. I think we've hit each time we've taken his over. Maybe we've lost one of them. He hasn't been that magnificent this year, let's be honest, but he's got a couple things going for him in this case. First of all, there are some weather concerns in this game, just a little bit, but it is somewhat of a high total. So I think we can be encouraged by that. The Kansas City defense, they have been formidable. So that's certainly a knock against Devontae Smith, but Dallas Goedert being out narrows that concentration of targets even more than it already has been. You're going to see a lot of A.J. Brown. You're going to see a lot of Devontae Smith. And then maybe a pepper, a few other targets like Zacchaeus, maybe some Julio Jones. But it's really all going to go to Devontae and A.J. Brown. And that's why I like Devontae Smith's over 57.5 receiving yards. This is one of those where I think he can get a long catch, but I think he'll get enough volume that even if he doesn't get the long reception, he still should get there in this game, in spite of the fact that I think the Eagles are going to run the ball very effectively. And, Coach, do you want me to get to my other play here? Because I have the Eagles over 21.5 points.
Yeah, 100%.
And that really goes into what I said at the very end of the Devontae Smith take. The Eagles will be able to run the ball pretty efficiently. I mean, this is a Kansas City defense that is good, but against the run, they have some weaknesses. I think Granted, when you run the ball, you do chew up clock. But the difference here is I think the Eagles are going to run the ball and be very effective and very efficient. And that's why I like the Eagles team total over 21.5 points at -120. This is one of those situations where I do think they'll milk some clock, but I think they'll be effective. And by the way, if you look at Kansas City's schedule, go ahead and look at it right now. They have not faced a dual threat quarterback or a dual threat offense like the Philadelphia Eagles. Literally every single quarterback they faced has been a pocket passer for the most part. And now you get Jalen Hurts. Hopefully he's a little bit healthier on that knee, and you get a good passing offense and a good rushing offense.
Why do you say hopefully? It sounds like you're rooting for the Eagles as a Commanders fan.
Well, here's the thing, Coach. The part of the reason I had the Eagles over 21.5 points is I don't really know what to do with the spread here. I actually lean a little bit towards Kansas City -2.5. But I don't want to have to make that call. So I actually reverted to looking at the team totals and looking at the Eagles and saying to myself, I think they're going to be pretty efficient with the ball. I think they're going to eclipse this 21.5.
All right. I'll let you stay. Because you technically didn't pick the Eagles. You picked their team total. So I'm gonna let you stay.
Thank you.
You would have stayed anyway, because you're my guy, 1B. Now, EC, let me come over to you, big boy. There are two names in the NFL that when you talk about anytime touchdowns, they are as sure of a lock as any two names in the NFL. One of them is Christian McCaffrey. The other one would be who?
Well, Coach, I was at the last game that these two teams played, happened to be the Super Bowl, and I was sitting in the end zone and pulled out my phone when the Eagles were on the 1-yard line just to get to watch the brotherly shove in person. And it was so cool to see the offensive line just move the defensive line back. So let's go with Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown at even money on BetMGM. He has 7 rushing touchdowns this season, and as coach well remembers, he had 3 in the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Forget the end result. That was a painful one.
Whoa. You can't talk trash on a game that they didn't win. Are you serious right now? You're going to throw that in my face. Okay, you throw it in my face, I'll say dub. Every time you say dub.
All right. So anyways, he has 1 or more rushing touchdowns in 18 of his last 27 games dating back to the 2022 season. And we're getting this even money. Sounds good to me. I like it. All right. So the counselor talked about Devontae Smith, who I absolutely think is going to have a big game tonight. That's a great pick there. But I'm going to roll with the total combined receiving yards of Devontae Smith and Rashee Rice over 102.5 at -115. Also a MGM exclusive here. Smith's target share last year went up from 22% to 30% when Dallas Goedert missed his 5 games. The Chiefs play 2 high safeties, the most in the NFL since the middle of the season, and Smith has a 26% first read share against 2 high. Now, since week 5, Mahomes has nearly a perfect passer rating when targeting Rashee Rice. All of this leads to both of these guys can get at least 50 yards. I think Devontae Smith gets 75. I think Rashee Rice gets 50, and I think we cover this by 25 yards. Just a hunch on that. And then, Coach, I can't resist here. We got to do kind of a parlay. This is another BetMGM exclusive. The Eagles +7.5 and over 40.5 total points at +110 on BetMGM. You can find this under spread/total when you click on the game. By the way, Coach, sorry to rub it in. I'm going Eagles 31, Chiefs 27. But just taking this bet as insurance.
Rub it in before the game? That's not rubbing it in. That's flipping a coin. Luckily, I just got a text. Oh, it's from BetMGM. We love EC. Tell EC thank you. That's the only thing that saves you right now, is that both of those plays, actually all 3, are at BetMGM. Go ahead, AB.
EC has this is why he's just the absolute best. He's now learned to put the score prediction in and start hammering one person on the show. It's phenomenal. The way that he can just be efficient in both of them, I respect it.
Well, I'm glad you respect it. I'm glad you respect it. I wonder what this looks like as a 4-person show. All right. So, by the way, the Maestro has 2 plays he gave out on the morning show if you didn't catch them. DeAndre Swift, we're going over 13.5 rush attempts for the Eagles, and also Reed Blankenship. You can now bet defensive props on almost every single bet, but especially BetMGM. We're going with Reed Blankenship over 6.5 tackles and assists -150. All right. We got to go to the other side, to the champs, the Kansas City Chiefs. What are their keys to the game, to victory tonight? Coach Phil, back to you.
Kansas City has so many things to talk about. I could spend the whole show, but what's boiled down to 2 minutes. First things first, Kansas City offense find their rhythm tonight. All right, Patrick Mahomes is special, most generational, talented quarterback that I've seen in person, and there's really no argument about it. But when you look closer, there's something off with this offense. They're only averaging 23.1 points per game, which is 13th in the league. They're outstanding on third down. They're fourth, 45%, but they're 17 turnovers, is third in the NFL. Patrick has 8 picks, which is high for him at this point in the season. This is the lowest rating, touchdowns, yards, and the most picks that he's ever had in his career. My gut tells me that they're going to figure this out, but just something to watch. This offense has been a little bit off. Even last week, or 2 weeks ago over in Germany, they did not look great in the second half. The second key to the game, will this outstanding Kansas City defense continue their dominant season? I never thought I would say that in my whole life, Coach. They're second in points allowed at 15.9. They're fourth in yards per game allowed. They held Tyreek Hill to 62 yards in Germany. I mean, they're looking to do the same to A.J. Brown tonight. They get after the quarterback. They got 31 sacks, which is second in the league, and it's coming from the outside. It's coming from the inside with Chris Jones. These guys are really rushing the passer well. They're sixth in quarterback hits, and the only area of concern I have with this defense is their rushing totals and their yards per carry to running backs is 4.6. So they're looking to improve on that. But this Kansas City defense is a real MVP, and they're looking to bring it tonight.
A lot of good nuggets right there to back him up. The offense for the Chiefs the last 2 weeks, back-to-back games with 14 points or fewer. The offense I'm talking about. They're averaging 23 points a game this season. They've got to step it up tonight. If you watch me today on HQ, I played overs with Mahomes and Hurts because I think tonight they're going to reverse the trend and really get going early and often. So with that being said, it's time to take a look at the quarterbacks because you know what time it is. AB, I'm coming to you, big boy. It's time for I'm pausing right there because eventually we're going to have music and the slate and the whole thing. But for right now, it's time for the no-fly zone. What do you got, big boy?
One day, Coach, we'll be able to afford that. We're working on it. We will get the funds necessary. But until then, what you're going to see tonight are two quarterbacks that are basically clones of each other. Let's pull up Jalen Hurts first and take a look at our man. So you look and see, okay? The Chiefs' secondary completion percentage rankings, top left, pretty darn good, to be completely honest with you. I know that they have given up yards on the ground, but their pass defense is legit. SportsLine simulations have Jalen Hurts to throw an interception 97% of the time. Okay, so below that on the left, you see Jalen Hurts interception splits. All 8 of his interceptions this year have come from playing ahead. Now, the Eagles play from ahead because they're generally ahead all year long. But he has thrown nearly 80 passes when they are behind in a game. So it's not like they've led every second of the go. It just goes to show how aggressive that they are in the air. But look at the red zone here. Jalen Hurts, 8 touchdown passes, 0 picks. He is efficient. If you see the top right, this is essentially Jalen Hurts. This is what his passing chart looks like. Pretty darn good, to be completely honest with you. Deep is strong. Short right is strong. Where he's going to get into trouble, and this will be the same thing for Mahomes, is if the defensive line or the linebackers, however you bring the blitzes, can flush him and really get him to make a bad mistake. These are the areas where Jalen Hurts interceptions come from. Generally short, intermediate to the right. But again, you're going to have to force him to do it. Now, take a look at those numbers there at the bottom. You see pass rating, completion percentage, yards, TDINT. Let's take a look at Mahomes. It's like the exact same damn thing. It's just these two quarterbacks are really good. Their coaches trust them to put the ball in the air and let it fly. Now, you see the Eagles secondary here, not as good, but they're only giving up 66.3 rushing yards per game. So the run game is gone. You're going to have to throw it a lot against this defense. Mahomes, we only have in simulation 73% to throw a pick. 75% of Mahomes' 8 interceptions this year in the first half. Both of these quarterbacks are very similar in terms of their turnovers come over early in the games. Second half, playing from behind, those types of things. These two guys are lethal. Red zone, Patrick Mahomes, 15 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. And again, it's the exact same thing as Jalen Hurts. A little bit different areas, but can you flush Mahomes, get him to make a bad decision? His come deep left, deep right, deep mid. That's where he gets into trouble, as almost any quarterback would. But you have to force him to do it. If you don't get pressure, he will pick you apart. Both of these guys will. So that's the chess match today. Can the Chiefs stop the run? And which quarterback is under pressure tonight? So let me get to myself, my picks, and then we'll get it right back here. So we have 5 for you today. Chiefs to lose a fumble, Eagles to lose a fumble, both at plus 125. I don't really like the interceptions. I'm not saying they don't happen, but I'm not counting on it. I think both of these teams are going to fumble tonight. They are fumble machines, both of them offensively, obviously. Then Jalen Hurts over 8.5 rushing attempts. Patrick Mahomes over 4.5 rushing attempts. We talked about pressure. We talked about both teams could have trouble using the ground game with running backs. Quarterbacks are going to have to do it. There'll be design runs for them. They will obviously be flushed and take off running, both of them. And then you look at Jalen Hurts, obviously, what Coach Phil alluded to, what he would call it, the brotherly shove, the tush push, those count, and they use them. 3rd down, 4th down. Lastly, Hurts and Mahomes over 45.5 total completions combined. Bet MGM exclusive with the early edge. That is at minus 125. And I'll pull it back down and tell you why I like both of these quarterbacks and their rushing attempts. Whichever team is at the end of the game kneeling down, those count as rushing attempts. 1st down, 2nd down, 3rd down. Mahomes could grab you 3 right there. And the Eagles, here's a nugget for you. They have led with 2 minutes left to go in the game in every single game this season. Them and the Ravens have both done that. So there you go.
He only let you finish that take because you said Mahomes.
Yeah.
You were about to get hooked right there. I saw it live. I saw the face.
That is so true. All right, quickly, Phil, your thoughts on because sometimes tonight's not about the interception, right?
Right. So Sia, you mentioned about weather, correct?
Yeah.
Is there precipitation? Do we have some rain here?
Little bit. I mean, the latest on that, it's raining right now. We see it in warm-ups. I just saw Jalen Hurts warming up with Devontae Smith. Now, it's projected to taper off in the first quarter or after the first quarter. So it's we've got kind of a mixed conditions thing going.
It's interesting. So with the fumbles, talking about fumbles, like these gloves are fantastic that they made. The innovations to receiver gloves over the last 20 years has been unbelievable. But one deficiency that we just can never figure out is what glove to use when it's raining. So you'll often see a guy with one glove, another glove, and then all of a sudden bare hands. To me, I just say take them off, which is live with the hands that the Lord gave us and go from there.
Put a little tape on it and put the cutters back in the locker room.
Like Tim Brown, you know what I mean? Put some tape on there and get the hands right. But it's real, AB. So this for especially like this may be the first or second experience of weather, and then you have temperature dips. There's things that come up. So the fumbles, I think, is highly probable if there's precipitation, like we just talked about with Sia. Just talking about Jalen Hurts, okay, he's going to face a pass rush with Dana, Karlaftis, and Jones. That's a little different than he faced before. L'Jarius Sneed is holding receivers to a 54.9 rating. And again, he has arm talent, but it's improved arm talent from his days at Alabama. It's not like he's just, Justin Herbert back there. So if there's some issues, the ball can be put in jeopardy. Switch over to Patrick. So Patrick, with him, he's had some bad luck in these turnovers. I mean, we saw the first week we had a drop pass by a receiver that gets tipped up, and then Branch runs it back. So we had another one that was tipped, and then he's made a few bad decisions. If you sat him down and asked him, he'd probably say he wish he had those back. The reality is, though, the Eagles, they give up tons of yards, but they have Slay and a bunch of other players in the back end that can take the ball away. So those are the things I thought about today when it comes to turning the football over.
It's a lot of good thoughts right there. A lot of good thoughts. We've also seen some bad interceptions from Patrick this year as well, trying to make a play because I think he thinks the offense has been struggling too much. He's trying to make a play. Hopefully tonight everybody is on that level. Love the no-fly zone. Great analysis, Philzy, by you. Now, Council, let me come over to you, big boy, because we talked about Devontae. You like him, but I want to know why you don't like A.J. Brown. I was the last idiot to bet him when he had that streak going of everything over 125, and then he didn't have a good game. Tonight, his numbers are 6.5, 85.5. Why do you not like him and like Devontae?
It's interesting. I mean, part of the reason is, first of all, the A.J. Brown numbers, the stock is high. The numbers are slightly inflated. The other thing is Kansas City's done a pretty good job against wide receiver ones. If you go back just for this season, they do a decent job. It's a tougher matchup from a DB standpoint. So listen, I think AJ Brown's going to have a fine game. Honestly, the 6.5 receptions is interesting. I do think they force feed him the ball, especially if we have weather. I think we might see them maybe kind of shorten the ADOT a little bit for both of these receivers and kind of get them involved in the short area a little bit more than normal. But I don't mind the AJ Brown props. I just think that the Devontae Smith props have been so depressed because he's been such an average receiver this season from a production standpoint that now we might be getting an advantage there, especially with Dallas Goedert out. When we saw Dallas Goedert out last year, yes, stuff went up for the target share went up for AJ Brown, but it went up a little bit more dramatically for Devontae Smith, and that's why I targeted that.
Big time thank you to Specty and his team from the AI department. As you can see, the projections are amazing. That is Frick. This is Frack, his partner. So, EC, let me come over to you, because on the other side of the football, the Chiefs, they haven't had one receiver this year that has kind of stepped up and says, I'm the guy. If you look at the props on both sides, basically you got like 4 dudes for the Eagles and 10 dudes for the Chiefs. Give me another name outside of Rashee Rice that maybe somebody can sink their teeth into.
Sky Moore, coach. I mean, he runs what, a 4.4, 4.5? I mean, this is another guy that, along with Rashee Rice, one of these guys is due to pop one, you would think, right? The Eagles secondary, I think, what is it? They gave up the most catches in the league and the most yards. Was it the most catches and third most yards to wide receivers? Now, we like Travis Kelce. I guess the AI model doesn't, but I think Travis Kelce is going to be force-fed the ball. But I think Sky Moore, if you're looking for a kind of a sleeper play here, I could see him busting out, maybe going 40, 50 yards, catching a deep one. So why not take a shot there?
See, and I'm just as smart as AI because I agree with you, EC. I was on CBS Sports HQ earlier today, and I said the catches for Kelce would be the play, not the yardage. You just saw the AI projections. They project him to the under because I think AB, as we come over to you, it's going to be a lot of he runs down 5 yards, turn around and catch, 6 round, turn around and catch. So maybe like 8 catches for just 50 or 60 yards. So do you think that leads to a lot of points for the Chiefs side of things tonight?
Here is the issue in terms of points on both sides. The Eagles defense will absolutely stop your run and force you to play one-dimensional. The Chiefs defense and Steve Spagnuolo have done an amazing job as of late. I think they're only giving up, 14, 15 points per game, somewhere around there.
15.9.
There you go. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like their defense, like as Coach Phil alluded to, it is dominant. That being said, I think that this game is going to have points because generally when these quarterbacks and these coaches start going and one team scores quickly, the other one just follows suit and you keep. So I understand all of the stats, all of them scream the under. I kind of dig on the over. So I like CS play with the Eagles. I like the Chiefs in points too.
See, that's what I'm thinking. Phil, let me come to you because when you're inside the locker room in a game like tonight, you can't tell me that there's not a little extra juice on both sides in both locker rooms. Does it change how you do anything inside the locker room?
You try to keep it as consistent as possible. You try not to allow the situation to dictate your routine. You want to stay composed. The reality is, though, by the time you get on the buses and you're leaving the hotel, and you can feel the energy on the bus. And then when you get to the stadium and you're putting the pads on and you're bringing the players out, it's different. And that is where the guys – I don't ever think they're just going to raise their level of play, but I think that it does make them focus in a little bit more and just compete just a little harder, just a little bit more physicality. So these type of games if one team scores, it is possible that ABC and they go out there and they match and it turns into something that's a shootout. Also, you can kind of regress where it's just a slog and it's 9-3 at the half. And those are the way that these type of games can be because you're trying to do too much. So what you want to do is keep your routine limited and go out there and execute the practice plays that you have had done all week.
All right. It's easier said than done. Counsel, let me come back to you because we also know there's a game within the game tonight, right? That we have a battle of the two leading as far as the odds are concerned for the MVP. And maybe tonight is the deciding factor. We don't know. But when I look at this on HQ today, I thought both the Hurts and the Mahomes rushing number could be in place simply because they may do everything in their power to win this game. Do you agree?
I totally agree. I think this goes a long way to the MVP race. And I think I probably like the Mahomes rushing number a little bit more because obviously it's a lot lower than the Jalen Hurts number. And frankly, I'm not exactly sure what the status of Jalen Hurts' knee is. I mean, I just can't say for sure that a week off, all of a sudden, he's definitely 100%. So I think I like the over a little bit in both numbers, especially in a game that could be a little sloggy with the wind and with the rain. And it's going to just be a lot of running, I think. Not just a lot of running, but certainly a lot of running. With that in mind, I like both overs, but I'd probably lean toward the Pat Mahomes over. And Coach, one thing I want to mention. You mentioned how Kansas City and the receivers, is there another receiver that's going to step up? I mean, I think Justin Watson could be one of those guys. But one thing that's really interesting about the Chiefs, when you said 10 different receivers, you weren't exaggerating. In fact, you were underselling it. If you go back the last 3 games, Pat Mahomes has hit 11 different receiving targets, 11 in each of the last 3 games, just to give you an idea of how ridiculous that is compared to the team they're playing, the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Hurts, in those same last 3 games, he's targeted 6, 8, and 6 different pass catchers. It is night and day. It's almost half. So when you see these receiver props for the Chiefs and they're super low, it's because it's such a wide and thin distribution among so many different pass catchers.
Hashtag it pays to watch live. I see so many of you in the chat say, oh, that over 1.5, that's a lock. That's the reason why. That's why C is who he is. Phil, go.
Yeah, I just think you touched on it, Coach, where, he made a bunch of bad decisions. Maybe. Some of these receivers aren't in the right spots. That's the facts. Okay. You look at the route concepts, you pull the film up, these are young guys, different guys. Spacing's not correct all the time. We got layered routes with not enough distribution vertically down the field. Horizontal stretches are not the same what they used to be before. So I think Patrick's trying, and Andy are trying to help these guys figure it all out. So Patrick's going to shoulder all the blame. He says all the right things at the podium, but I'll promise you, when you watch the All 22, there's some fault to go around that we all don't see on the regular TV copy.
I agree with you 100%. EC, go, big boy.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Coach. It's great that the Chiefs won a Super Bowl last year without Tyreek Hill, but at some point you would think that they have to replace him and get a dynamic number 1 receiver. You can't just keep throwing guys out there and hoping they're going to step up and break out. At some point, these guys are what they are, i.e. Kadarius Toney. It's time for the Chiefs in the offseason to go out and get themselves a legit number 1 receiver and not stop wasting Mahomes' better years. Now, I know they're winning with this, but at some point, Kelsey slows down. I would like to see the Chiefs do that. For now, you just kind of it's like a roulette. You pick a number and hope it hits, right?
Yeah.
There's a little thing called a salary cap that gets in
the
way.
Draft one.
Yeah.
Apparently the 49ers don't operate. They just sign anybody that they want at any time.
Well,
they've got genius.
But see, they ended up getting the 49ers got Ayuk and they've had Debo. They did draft well. These Chiefs receivers that they're drafting, Phil, Rashee Rice, okay, he has potential. Sky Moore, he has potential, but they're not.
No, you need to draft like a Marvin Harrison Jr. Like you need an alpha, not paid highly receiver. You can't go afford AJ Brown. That's Coachman saying. He's saying up the salary cap. Totally agree. You have to nail one of these 6'2", 215 plus. It runs 4.4 as an X receiver. You got to get Patrick, one of those guys who's not making a lot of money.
And they will try to do that. But let's remember right now, somehow, some way, they're the only team in the AFC with only 2 losses. The Eagles are the only team in the NFC with 1 loss. So right now, these would both be the number 1 seeds in their respective conferences. That's how big tonight is. AB, let me come over to you because we just crossed the top of the hour. It's 8:01 in the East. We have less than 15 minutes until the start of the Eagles and the Chiefs live from Arrowhead. We haven't even talked about rushing, and you said in the no-fly zone that the way that the Eagles are going to stop the Chiefs is on the ground, that they'd have to throw. So let's look at Pacheco for a second. Do we play some unders with the Chiefs when it comes to Pacheco, McKinnon, anybody? I think we go under tonight. What about you?
I think we do too. All right. And if you take a look here at the Chiefs rushers, all right, let's just take a look at Pacheco and Patrick Mahomes. Both of them rushing yards under because the Eagles defense is that good. And it sounds really weird that tonight that both defenses want to force Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts to beat you in the air. But that's it, man. Like that's the chess match tonight. So I think anything with the Chiefs rushing yards wise is going to be brutal. Now attempts, that's going to be your play because they're going to have to try it. That's why I'm all over Patrick Mahomes at 4.5 because they'll eventually try to do it on his own. But yeah, Coach, yardage, don't want anything to do with that. It's going to be tough sledding, man. It really, really is.
Translation, if you're a bettor and you want to bet on the Chiefs, just stay away from all the receiver props. Basically what the guys are saying, you just don't know. Counselor, go.
Just real quick, just to put a bow on that, Patrick Mahomes' completions prop is 26.5. That is insanely high. And it speaks to the fact that he's just going to be chucking it around probably in the short area. And that's how they're going to be matriculating themselves down the field. So some of these receiver props are going to hit. Some of these overs are going to come in. I'm not really willing to speculate, but if I were, I do think Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, I think their props are probably the ones I'd be locating. But again, 26.5 completions is a ton. Some of these guys are going to get work outside of Travis Kelce.
I just got a text from you-know-who, and he says, matricula. You got to stop. I mean, Buckus is watching.
He shouldn't have been out of school today.
That's true. He should have gone and been the only one there. We know he graduated high school. He broadcast that all over a show one time. Thank you, Buckets, for letting the whole world know you have no GED. All right. Now, Jeff in the chat says, I'm starting to feel bad for Coach Phil. I may have to go live up on a billboard platform until he gets into the club. Wow. That is dedication to the product right there.
I love that guy. That guy's the best.
So here's what we do. If you're brand new to our brand, you came in on the right night. These are our best bets. We'll leave them up there for you. We're not going to read through them again. You got to show up at 7:30 for that. But this is where we try, and I repeat, try to predict the first touchdown of the game. Last week I said it's probably going to be some small punt returner, and it was. I didn't even know who to pick there, so I didn't pick him. But, Counselor, another chance tonight for you to make history with 5 gems next to your name. So you, big boy, get to go first. Who do you like tonight?
Well, we're going long with this one, just like I'm hoping Patrick Mahomes goes long with his first touchdown pass. And it's going to be to Justin Watson, a guy that really has been, from a target share standpoint and from a routes run standpoint, has really been sort of climbing the ladder, which is part of the reason I like his prop over 25.5, 26.5 receiving yards. Again, it's hard to rely on a lot of these receivers, but don't forget, Justin Watson has been there for a while, and he's usually buried on the depth chart, and he slowly climbs up the depth chart each and every season because some of these young guys, they just don't have it. So I think Justin Watson at 30-1 is a pretty nice shot.
You're so arrogant. You're so cocky. He's now trying to do it with long shots the last couple of weeks just to make it harder on himself. I respect it. I respect it a lot. By the way, Alexander says, I have to take a trigonometry test tonight. That's on you, Alexander. That's not on any of us.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't do that now.
Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
I don't even know how much money it would take, but it would take a lot to go back to school. All right. Where do we go next? Well, it's a pretty easy call. AB, you're looking for number 4 in the 2023 season. You're going with the big man, number 15. Why?
Correct. As Patrick Mahomes is looking for his 4th, 5th, 6th, 300th title this year, I'm trying to do the same, and I'm trying to get on Sia's level. I'm going to take Mahomes. You look at the Eagles, it's tough choosing against them because Philadelphia, San Francisco, the 2 fastest scoring teams consistently in the NFL. But I think that the Chiefs want to negate that. And if they win the toss, I think they're going to want to take the ball and go right down the field and score. And I think Mahomes in the red zone is going to be the X factor there. So give me Big Pat, man. I'll take it.
That's the only way I'm not hot if you get your approach. That's the only way I'm not hot. All right. So I guess I get to go next, and then I'll leave it up to the 2 rivals on the show. And I'm going to go with Sky Moore because EC just told me if there's another guy outside of Rashee Rice, it's got to be this guy right here. And I, like Sia, don't want to give you chalk tonight. So I'm going plus 2,200. I like that number. Give me Sky Moore all day for number 2. Now, I know EC waits all week for tonight. He loves having that one gem next to his name, so he gets to go next. EC?
Well, Coach, I actually think Jalen Hurts is going to score first, but if that's obviously below plus 1,000 odds because Jalen Hurts, the Eagles, we know the Eagles are going to score first. We know that. So if not Jalen Hurts, then Devontae Smith at plus 1,500. By the way, he has scored in his last 2 games, has 4 touchdowns on the year. Eagles are going to win this game, I think. I'm not fully confident, but the Eagles will score first, Coach. That I can tell you.
All right. You want to – how confident are you that they'll score first?
I knew that was
not. Yeah, I mean, let's not. Let's not get carried away here.
Well, I'm just asking. I mean, you sound very, very confident.
I'm not Justin Herbert level confident from the other week. We know how that went for me against your Chiefs. I've learned just don't bet against you with the Chiefs until we get to the Super Bowl, Eagles, Chiefs, then we'll double down.
Okay. Well, you guys know what time it is. We've got people on billboards. We've got Joey Blaze saying, I love Coach Phil's pick. Tonight's his night. Real talk. People are starting to set their clocks to this pick right here. Coach Phil, is tonight your night, big boy?
I like that. That's very ominous about my pick. I think that you just buried soil on my pick.
No, we buried everybody else. The Undertaker doesn't die.
That's true. That's true. True. I had catering with that guy at the WrestleMania with Coach, and that was crazy. Good dude, actually. But so, like, I'm looking at Sia, man. He's got these 4 gems. He got more bling than Manny Fresh out here. So I don't know. I feel left out. I mean, AB, you're looking like, just, another part of that Cash Money Records crew.
Juvenile?
Yeah, you're like Juvie, the great. Love that guy. And Coach, you're like a guy who didn't get signed with that little one. You and EC. I have nothing. I think the Rice family probably texted me and said, don't pick our son tonight. We heard about you. But the reality is most of my guys score like the second or third touchdown. So everyone has a good night besides me. It's just been a comedy of errors. Unlike EC, it's just, he just has no comedy at all. So it's been tough. So tonight, Rashee Rice, emerging young player, plus 1,200, get in the club so I can stop being last year. And then, I can go and get this thing rolling.
I think I'm pretty damn funny. I'm just saying that, Coach Phil,
Because you're the only one that does. That's what we're saying. You're the only one that thinks you're funny.
Yeah, thank you.
But I love you deep down. I mean, congratulations to your Arizona Wildcats. You got
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. Have we got to everything in the chat? I believe we have. I don't know that I've ever been this excited for a game. So as we have 5 minutes, you guys have seen the best bets. We don't need to do that. But I do want to know what everybody's number one most important. Let's see how good we are to tonight's game for victory. For the team to win, what's the most important thing on the side that you think is going to win? EC, let's start with you. I clearly know you think it's the Eagles.
Yeah, Counselor brought up a really good point about Jalen Hurts' knee, and I'm a little concerned about that. Now, they had a bye week to get him rested, but will his mobility be affected? If not, watch out. He had a great game against the Chiefs running the ball in the Super Bowl. If he is affected, the Chiefs will hunker down. Chris Jones will have a field day against him staying in the pocket.
I like that storyline. Counselor, what about you?
Yeah, I think this is all eyes on Jalen Hurts, my preseason MVP. This is a big game for him. So if he looks healthy coming out again, this Kansas City defense, they've been very good, but they haven't faced a dual threat quarterback like Jalen Hurts. There aren't many dual threat quarterbacks like Jalen Hurts, but they haven't faced anybody even resembling him. So it could be a big problem for this defense.
I respect your preseason pick for that. At least you weren't dumb enough to have a showdown with somebody who had Patrick Mahomes. I mean, who would actually? Oh, yeah, you would. AB, talk to me.
This game is going to be won in the trenches. Whichever D-line can dominate an offensive line or the offensive line negate a defensive line. That's where this game will be won. Pay attention to that early, because whatever you see in the first and second quarter, likely in the fourth quarter, it'll be even more. So pay attention who is winning in the trenches early in this game.
And that'll be really, really important for you live bettors out there. Pay attention. Follow my guys. They're the best live bettors in the business. Coach Phil, bring us home.
Yeah, the last thing that I'm really concerned about here is the turnovers and the weather. We've talked about it all night, and that's going to – the Chiefs have turned the ball over 17 times this year. So if that's a continuous trend, they're going to struggle. If they can control the football, run the football, and secure the football, whoever can do that, I'm not going to say one way or the other because I don't want to ruin the objectivity of watching this football game and just enjoying it. But watch for the turnover battle, and whoever can control the football more in this weather is going to win the football game.
For me, the thing I'm looking at the most is who gets off to the fastest start. Neither one of these teams has been great in the first quarter. They've kind of stumbled. The Chiefs coming off the Germany game, they scored 21 in the first half and then couldn't score in the second half. Who will get off to a fast start and continue to keep the gas pedal down? That, to me, will be the team, all kidding aside, that will win the game tonight. Such a big game. I hope you all enjoy it. Do not forget, Our Week 12 starts tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time with our mega preview. Make sure you tune in the morning because we've changed our schedule for this week, and we'll fill you in on that tomorrow. But for the here and now, it's time to go enjoy the game, everybody. That's exactly what we're here for. So, with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Monday night tickets, except for whoever, including Proppy, who has the Eagles plus 2.5, straight to the pay window. Brian Tiger, Lamo, EC, AB, Coach Phil, and the counselor. Never forget about the Snake, our executive producer, always hovering around the brand. I am simply the coach. Try to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. Is truly what we're all about. Even at nighttime, sun goes down at prime time. Early edge. Good luck.